Hello, Algebra 2 students. This is Ms. Peltier, and this is your first installment of our distance learning during our COVID-19 shutdown. And I'm going to talk a little fast as I go through this, just because I want to make sure that I have enough time. I only get 15 minutes. We'll be sending out three lessons a week, as well as on Google Classroom. I will post not only the video, I'll also post the blank notes and the filled in notes for you, and you'll have a worksheet attached to that as well. And there will be a IXL assignment for this also. So today is 3/23, and your IXL will be A2 for Algebra 2, I.7, which it will be in your Google Classroom, so you don't even have to look for it. You click on the link and it'll take you straight to there. You will need to log in though. Your IXL will be due on 3/25, so make sure that you stay on top of it. We will have some Google Hangouts if you have questions after you've seen the video and you want to go through those. You can join our Hangouts. Mr. Cleland will do one at 9 o'clock. I will do one at 11. Miss Blatt at 1, and Mr. Monbruen at 2. So you're welcome to join us. I'm also going to do another one at 7 in the evening. I had some kids that requested that I do a later one because they work. So if that's more convenient for you, by all means. If you have any questions, email us, send us a message on Google Classroom. However you need to get in touch with us, let us know what your questions are. Jump on your Google Hangout. When you join Google Hangout, make sure that you mute your microphone so that it cuts down on the back noise. It also cuts down on a lot of people talking at the same time, so that if you do have a question, you want to be able to hear whichever teacher it is that's answering. You want to be able to hear them, as well as if you do have a question, turn your mic on so that you can ask the question. But we want to make sure that everybody's able and it's beneficial for everybody. Okay? So we're going to get into some factoring. The first 3 sessions are going to be some repeat stuff that we've done before, so it's not going to be brand new for you. So I might go kind of quick through the first ones just as we start to get the hang of things to see how things go. Okay? So if we're factoring and we have a trinomial, remember we use our 2 sets of parentheses. And then we're going to go to the factors of the first term. Our first term is p squared, so its factors are p times p. So p and p will be my 2 factors. Then we look at 14, the factors of 14. Well, you have 1 and 14, and you have 2 and 7. When your leading coefficient is 1, remember you're looking for which one will add or subtract to be 5p, which is what's in the middle. In fact, a negative 5p. So between these 2 and 7 will give me a 5. So I'm going to start with those. Now in my classes, what we talked about, we called it the double chin method because we did the middle of our FOIL, which when you multiply the outsides, 7 times p, you get a 7p. When you multiply your insides, 2 times p, you get a 2p. So see how it kind of looks like a double chin? Get it? So 2p and 7p. In order to get this middle term of a 5p, I need my 7 to be negative and my 2 to be positive. So whatever our bottom one was, that will go to this set of parentheses. Whatever my top one was, will go to this set of parentheses. And then there's my factors. You can always double check that last one. 2 times negative 7 gives us a negative 14. One thing we like about the double chin, later when we get ready to solve, if we've done it in our pencil, we can easily erase this as we need to use that later, and nobody even knows that we used that. But it's still a good aid for us. I'm going to leave it on there for you so that you have it. If you look back on your notes, whenever I save your notes, it'll be there for you. Okay? All right, so the next one. When we factor 3 terms, trinomial tells us it probably factors into 2 sets of parentheses with 2 terms apiece. Starting with my x squared, I would have x and x. With 63, if you like listing them, list 1 and 63. 2 doesn't go into 63, but 3 does. 3 goes into there 21 times. 4 doesn't. 5 doesn't. 6 might. I don't know. The next common one for me is, I know 7 times 9 goes into 63. Okay? So I'm looking for which of these is going to give me 16. Well, the 21 and 3 is not quite. If I subtract those, I'm going to get like 18 or so. So it's not going to get me to 16. But 7 and 9 will add to be 16. So I'm going to put my 7 here and my 9 here. So when we do our double chin, this gives me 9x. This gives me 7x. To get a negative 16x, I need them both to be negatives. So this will be negative and this will be negative. Now, one thing your teachers may have taught you or showed you, pointed out to you, is that if you notice this last sign, one time it was a plus, one time it was a minus. When it is a plus, that indicates to you that your signs will be the same. You will have the same signs, meaning these two signs will be the same, and we're going to be adding them together. They're the same signs, therefore we add them, and we keep that same sign to be whatever this is. So this sign is what becomes these two, always. So we're going to make a note to ourselves, we're going to use this sign. And what I mean by that is that sign, this one here, is the one that goes to these two when we're adding. When it's a minus, they're going to be different signs, which is also an indication to us that we're going to be subtracting. Notice we had different signs, we subtracted those, and this sign went to our larger of these two numbers. So this sign goes to the larger, goes to larger. So that's what that means. It goes to the larger of those two signs. So if that's helpful for you, excellent. If you have questions on that, jump on our Google Classroom so that we can clear up any questions you might have. Okay? So, have a few more examples for you. I'll go a little bit faster as we go. Make sure I can get everything in and everybody is able to see the types that they need to see. Trinomial, two sets of parentheses. Start with our 7x squared. We have a 7x and an x. Factors of 20, if you need to list them, continue to list them. I'm going to use 4 and 5. Remember, if you try your double chin and it doesn't work, just rearrange those two on the end and see if that works. But if it helps you to do that double chin, make sure that you're doing that. So 5 and 7 gives me 35. 4 times x gives me 4x. I know it's minus, so I know they need to be different. They're different, and the larger one gets this sign, which tells me my 35 should be negative and my 4 should be positive. So there's my minus and there's my plus. Okay. On number 4, before we just jump into going into our two sets of parentheses, if you will notice your variables, you have variables in all of them, which means we need to factor out a common factor. We also need to look at the coefficients, the numbers in front, and if there's anything common in those. Well, between 28, 16, and 80, we can take out a common 4. With my variables, they all have at least an n squared. So now when I divide each of these by 4n squared, I'm going to get 7n squared. I'm going to get 4n and 20. Now we continue to factor this. Do not lose your 4n squared that you had up in front. It's still a part of your factors. And then we do the same thing with what we have left. So 7n squared would be 7n and n. And now factors of 20. Notice it looks kind of like this, but our middle numbers are different, even though I still want different signs. So I'm going to try to use different numbers because I know it's not going to be 4 and 5. So I might try doing my 5 and 4 this way, but notice this is going to give me 28 and 5, which will never give me 4. So instead of doing 5 and 4, I'm going to try to use 10 and 2. And notice when I do my double chin, that gives me 14 in, and that gives me 10 in. This tells me different signs. The larger gets the plus, so my 14 gets plus, my 10 gets a minus. So plus in the back, minus in my front, or with the 10. Remember, the order of these doesn't matter what order the parentheses are in, but the 7 and 10 must be in parentheses together, and the n and the 2. Okay? The hardest thing about this is not being able to see all and see if you have questions. So remember, if you have questions, make sure you log on our Google Classrooms or our Google Hangout so that you can get those questions answered. Common factor, 3 and b. There's a 3 in all of these, and there's a b in all of these. So that gives me 10n squared. When I take a 3 out of 87, I get 29n. And when I take 3b out of 30b, I'm left with a 10. Now, again, I try to factor that again. So 3b, and I'm going to start with 5n and 2n. From 10, 5 and 2. Now, my other factors of 10, I know I can't put a 5 here because notice I have no more common factors, and if I put a 5 right here, I should have a common factor of a 5, but I don't, so that tells me try the 5 here. And now when I do my double chin, I get 25n and 4n to give me 29. Plus means I'm going to add. My signs will both be negatives, so negative 25 and negative 4 do give me a negative 29, and that is my factorization. All right. The last one, we could start with 3r and 3r. There's no common factors, notice. With my 10, I could try 5 and 2. Notice when I do my double chin, this gives me 6r and 15r. Well, 6r and 15r, if I subtract them, I don't get 5, and if I add them, I'm obviously not going to get 5, so I might erase and try flipping those. I could do 2, I'm just going to leave it in purple, and 5, which would give me 15 and 6. Well, 15 and 6 won't give me 5 either, so instead of that, I'm going to leave the 5 and the 2, but instead change my r's. If I changed my 9 and 1r. So if I did that, it would change these. And notice that would give me 9 and 5 is 45, and 2 is 2r. Way too much, not enough, whichever way you want to look at it. If I switched them again, and I did this time my 5 here and my 2 here, that gives me 18r and 5r. Well, 18 and 5 again doesn't give me 5. Once you've exhausted everything and nothing worked, we say that it is not factorable. Notice we say not factorable. We don't say no solution because it's not an equation we're not solving. Okay? So that is a few examples for you. So you've got an assignment. You can either do IXL or you can do the worksheet, whichever one you choose. It doesn't matter to me. Load it up in the assignment. Let me know whichever one you did. If you did IXL, you need to mark it as done and then tell me that you did IXL so I go check it out and see how you did. Okay? If you have questions, send me a message on Google Classroom. You can go to my website. There's links to all the Google Hangouts there as well as in the Google Classroom. And if you need anything, feel free to email me as well. Okay? So good luck, stay safe, wash your hands, and don't touch your face. Have a good day.